Hi, and welcome to the Reiki from the Farm podcast, brought to you by me, Pam Allen-LeBlanc from Hidden Brook Farm. I am a scientist, a businesswoman, and a licensed Reiki master teacher with the International Center for Reiki Training. Each week in this podcast, you'll be entertained as you learn about a wide variety of relevant Reiki topics, helping you become a more knowledgeable and effective Reiki practitioner. We caution you, though, this podcast may also dramatically improve your life, and we are so happy that you're here. Welcome to this month's Reiki Share and this week's podcast. I hope you'll excuse my voice. My daughter brought a cold home for Christmas and it's worked its way through all of us. I'm super excited about our Reiki Share and our podcast, though, this month. And the reason is that we're going to be talking about manifesting, setting powerful intentions for 2025 and how to manifest those, or using Reiki to not only to help manifest them, but also to help set the intentions. Because so often with our people make New Year's resolutions, and we make New Year's resolutions based on our ego, usually, like what the ego wants, what the mind wants. And so what we're going to be doing tonight is going to be, I think, fun. And that's just tapping in a little deeper to the soul level and find out what the soul wants for 2025. And there's a lot of reasons for it, but 2025 is going to be a very big year of change. And 2024 was already a big year of change. 2026 is when it all comes together, but we're really stepping into that new paradigm that I've been talking about for quite a while. So I'm so glad that you're all here. Before we get too far in, though, I just would like to let you know about some of the classes we have coming up in January and February. The weekend of the 25th and 26th is a Reiki Level 1 and 2 class. And of course, any of you can review that class. If you've already studied it with me, you can always review it for half price or half fee if you would like. Through the week, or actually it's Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday evening. There's a Reiki master class, January 31st to February 3rd. And these are all licensed classes with the ICRT, which means that you qualify for professional membership in the Reiki Membership Association when you study those two levels with a licensed teacher. And some people like to come back and review their courses with a licensed teacher just to bring it up to that level. I'm also teaching a Karuna Reiki Masterclass January 27th to the 30th. That's 4 evenings through the week, and it'll be mornings in Australia and in Asia. And I'd love to have you join us if that speaks to you. Karuna Reiki really is a very advanced Reiki masterclass. You can study that after you've been a Reiki master for at least 6 months. And it really does take things to the next level. So if that's something that you're considering, that might be a really good time to join us. February 8th and 9th is my Animal Reiki Level 1 and 2 class. That's a weekend class. And then February 10th to 13th is an Animal Reiki Masterclass, and that's the evenings through the week. And I'm going to try that format to just make the classes more available to our Australian students, the master classes, and the Asian students. And so hopefully that will be helpful. And also, a lot of people are interested in the animal communication for Reiki practitioners class. I won't be offering it again until late next fall, but I am offering a level 1 and 2 introductory workshop February 15th and 16th, and that's online in the Eastern time zone. These classes are all online. This time around, in April, we'll do some in-person classes. I'll be doing the Level 3 Professional Practitioner Workshop on February 17th, and that's a long weekend for us here in North America. So it's President's Day in the US, and it's actually Family Day here in parts of Canada. And then I'll be doing the animal communication master teacher for the first time February 18th to 20th. And that's for 3 evenings, just following these two classes. So I am really excited that the energy has finally shown me a way forward so that other people can start teaching the animal communication work. And so if that speaks to you, the prerequisites are level 1 and 2 and level 3, and at least a master level with Reiki, a Yusui master level with Reiki. And would love to have more and more people out there teaching our system of animal communication because people tell me that it's just so very helpful. Also coming up is Healthcare Reiki. Tracy Sullivan and I have been working on a new course. We've been listening to the energy. It's blowing us away a little bit, to put it mildly. And it's Reiki, it's a formal program for offering Reiki in healthcare settings, including hospitals, nursing homes, hospice, massage therapy, and naturopathy areas, and just any healthcare area that you can think of, pretty much. Even animals as well. It does apply to animals. There is a formal class set up April 30th and May 1st. Tracy and I will be teaching it in person in at Silver Bay, New York, at the Northeast Reiki Retreat. But we also will teach an online class prior to that, either the weekend before or at some point in February. And that pilot class hasn't been determined yet, but please reach out if you'd like to be put on the list to be invited. We're just going to invite a small number of people to that class. And would love to have you join us as well for the Northeast Reiki Retreat. Even if you don't join the class, we will be talking about healthcare Reiki during the retreat and giving people an experience with it. So that will be fun. Would love to have you join us. Now, before we get too far into it, I'm also going to, if you have Reiki, I'm just going to invite you to bring your hands in Gasho. And even if you don't, you can go ahead and bring your hands in Gasho, and all of our Reiki energy will flow around you. And just think of the symbols that you would like to invite to join you today, and just invite them in one by one. This is an auspicious start to our year, to a very important year, a 9 universal year, which has tremendous significance. So just take your time, and if you like to draw the symbols around you, you can do that as well. And just go ahead and allow the Reiki energy to begin to flow and all of the symbols to join you. Before we began this evening, we were talking about how sometimes Reiki blows things up that aren't in our best interest so that we can move on to something else. And however 2024 treated you, whether it brought a lot of significant endings, significant beginnings, or even stagnation, we just acknowledge that everything has a season and that we can't always be in the full bloom of summer. Sometimes we need to pause, reset. In fact, if we were constantly in a state of expansion, pretty soon our foundation would crumble because it wouldn't be able to support that continued expansion. So we acknowledge that we go through these phases of expansion and contraction in order to build our foundation stronger, and that they're just a natural part of the growth cycle that every living being experiences. Take a moment to look back on the past year and just say thank you to you because you showed up. When it was difficult, you showed up. When it was easy and effortless, you still showed up. You showed up for yourself and for others. And so just take a moment to appreciate you and that you're here listening to the call, away shower. That rock for your family and whatever you do for work. And just acknowledge that you are that way shower. You are that person for your peers that lives in a way that shows them change is possible and positive. And just take a moment to release anything sticky and stuck from the past year. We're going to do that more formally, but let's just begin. You can even do a Kenyoku with your right hand at your left shoulder, sweep down to your right hip, and then left hand to right shoulder, down to your right hip, and once more. Left shoulder to right hip, and left shoulder out to the tips of your fingers, shoulder out to the tips, and left again. And just give the energy a fling. And we're going to leave that energy back in 2024. It no longer encumbers us as we take a step forward into this glorious new year, 2025. Take a moment to ask your ego and personality to step aside and let your inner self know that today we'd like to make decisions from our soul space, and we'd like the ego to just step aside the personality and to not be part of the decision-making process. They can come back in when it's time to implement the decisions. But for right now, we ask them to stand to the side so that our soul can work with Reiki going forward. We can listen with Reiki, hearing the parts of this podcast and this share that are the most important for us. Thank you. Namaste. So, guys, in this podcast and this Reiki share, I want to welcome you and just talk about the possibility of setting our New Year's intentions with Reiki and with our soul, and so that it can align with our soul's purpose, not our ego, not our personality, the soul. And that's why we asked the ego and personality to step to the side. And I'd like to let you know a little bit about 2024, 2025, why they were the way they were. There's an astrologer that I follow named Elizabeth Peru out of Australia. And she has a really neat numerology guide. I'd like to share a little bit of what she says with you. She talks about the fact that 2024 was the 8th universal year. And so it was challenging in the extreme, physically demanding, and exceptionally gross inducing. And I don't know about you guys, but with everything that I experienced on the campaign trail, I'm still nursing an injured knee. That is absolutely bang on. And 2024 was the first time in 45 years that an 8th universal year happened alongside of a solar maximum, which is the peak of the sun's cycle. So it was a year of preparation and self-initiation. And she talks about how challenging that was for the people, the souls that are here to help support and uplift humanity during our transition into the Aquarian astrological age. And if you're here with me, I believe that you're one of those souls. And so you may have found 2024 to be very challenging. Elizabeth talks about the fact that the tests we experience in 2024 were designed to help us gauge and apply what we had learned about ourselves in 2023, which was a year of soul searching, and it was deeply internal. It was a seven universal year. And when I talk about eight, seven, nine universal years, what that means is that actually uses the science of numerology, where you actually take the numbers to 2024 and you add 2 plus 2 plus 4, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 to come up with the eight universal year. And this does seem uncannily to have some impact, as well as astrology, on how things play out throughout the year. So 2023 was about getting to know ourselves on an authentic soul level. 2024 was the year of growth and challenges. And so we had to confront our inner paradigms. The inner retreat became a normal thing that we had to start doing to try to figure it all out. And it was and all while just continuing the momentum of living life. So it was, she calls it a prerequisite to having a strong spiritual connection and one that anchors you in love. Now, 2025 is a little different, a lot different. It's a nine universal year. What 2025 is the year of the empowered soul. So what that means is that we're concluding any lessons from the foundations we set way, way back in 2017. So if you think about 2017 and just consider, what were you doing in 2017? In 2017, for me, I was getting ready for my first child to go to university, and the kids were still young. They were still here in school. What was happening for you then? That was the one universal year where profound embodied wisdom came. And this might seem a year of conclusions and revelation and head into heart integration. On the higher planes of knowing and personal enlightenment, it's also what she calls a year of soul embodiment. So what we're working on, or what we're trying to gain in 2025, is to apply the wisdom we gained through 2024 to elevate our human life so it's more meaningful and fulfilling. And because of that awareness, we can actually shift so that the soul is the one that directs our daily activities instead of the ego and personality, which typically are the ones that are in charge, maybe not of everything, but of our daily activities. So we're actually shifting so that the soul is not only in charge of our soul's path, our soul's journey, but it's even getting into the minutiae of what we do every day. So this year is a year that we're going to be creating new life patterns. And I don't know about you guys, but my husband and I both independently discovered that we had each downloaded a habit tracker, different ones, just to try to develop some new, more effective patterns for what and habits for what we're trying to create. And it's also a year to just consider all the growth that we have accomplished and achieved. So, in order to do all of this, it is going to be important to become a little bit more aware of the reason that we want to lead a soul-led life and where our soul wants to be going. And then that's going to really help power us and empower us throughout the year. Our presence, our empowered soul presence, being able to live from that space has the potential to uplift all of humanity. And that's at a time when it doesn't always feel very uplifted. So we have an opportunity to do that. Couple of things, a couple of themes in this 9 universal year. The feminine aspect of nature comes to the forefront. We've been noticing in sessions, not just myself, a lot of people have been noticing the divine feminine coming in to be healed and healing all the way back through the mother line. We talked about that a little bit last month. And so that's been coming and that's why. Whereas 2024 was more around the masculine principle of right action, Elizabeth says 2025 represents the intuitive feminine principle of right knowing. And so we're going to be able to trust our knowing on a deeper level than ever before. We're also going to begin wrapping up and making peace with the actions that have been set in motion by humanity over the past 9 years. And those actions have brought about a lot of challenge and opportunity, both collectively, personally. So there might be some sadness that comes up as a result of this. That often is sadness brings us to a place of compassion. And that's going to be very important going forward. It's okay to allow those feelings to come up, to allow them to occur in all of their intensity, because we're going to be energetically cleansing and clearing throughout 2025, getting ready for heightened soul clarity and more aligned or wiser for the life path to unfold. This is a way, and it's funny because I've never heard the term way shower and started using it. And here I see she's using the term, and I heard somebody else using the term. So it's just a word that's coming through, I think. This is a year where way showers are going to rise and they're going to feel the call to invoke harmony. This is the year of the empowered soul. We'll be getting constant information of and energy, constant streams of higher light, higher consciousness, allowing our connection with the soul and the soul plane to direct all of our activities, our human actions. It's a year where our level of awareness in the higher planes truly begins to influence our physical life so that we're acting in what she calls an empowered, soul-driven way. So that's just a little bit about what's happening and what the difference of what we've noticed in 2024 and 2025. In 2025, we've got a few astrological things to note as well. We've got, oh, and just something else just about the 9 universal year. The number 9 is about completion, humanitarianism, and it's the conclusion of a cycle before a new beginning. So again, we're just going to be reflecting on the past, releasing what no longer serves us, and getting ready or preparing for the future. And then just a few things to keep in mind for 2025 astrologically. We've got a Venus retrograde, and Venus, of course, is the planet of love, beauty, and values, and its retrograde will retrograde through Aries and Pisces March 1st to April 12th. And that'll be encouraging us to be introspective in relationships, creativity, and finances, and to reassess our personal aspirations and relationships. We also have Pluto transiting into Aquarius in 2025, and that is that beginning of that Aquarian age that everybody's been talking about. So this is a big shift. Significant changes are coming for the next 2 decades, and it's just going to impact everything. And then we have a Uranus retrograde where Uranus starts in Taurus and moves into Gemini. And this is going to give us an opportunity to just evaluate and liberate ourselves from anything restrictive, any situations, especially finances, material things. And it's going to really help us reassess things and move into a space of personal freedom. So we've got a lot to look forward to coming into 2025. And so, with that in mind, I hope everybody has a journal. I guess I did mention that in the Reiki share, but those who are listening, if you want to pause and just grab something to write with, we're going to use something called automatic writing today. And I'm going to join you. I need to do this just as much as all of the rest of you. We're going to do something called automatic writing in order to start with a little bit of a reflection on last year, on the past year, and then we're going to be moving into having our soul help us set our intentions for the coming year. And it's really important to use reflection before setting new intentions. I think it's really important to just see where you've grown. And also, when you look back, a lot of times you find that what originally might have seemed negative, or it might have seemed negative when you went through it, it was actually a period of growth. So I know personally, I look back at the election and I've talked to you guys about this and thought, oh my gosh, talk about accelerated growth. I learned so much, even though it was really hard at times and it just kept pushing me constantly out of my comfort zone. I want us to start, and we're going to spend just about 2 or 3 minutes. And so just grab your journal, and I put a journal beside you with a pen. And the first prompt that I'd like you to write down is, what were my biggest lessons in 2024? So I'll just give you a minute to write that down. What were my biggest lessons? And by taking the time to reflect, it allows us to build going forward and go forward on the foundation that we've already created rather than in another direction per se, or if we're going in another direction, to make use of the foundation. So again, that's, what were my biggest lessons in 2024? And if any of you are new to automatic writing, what I'm going to do is just invite you to just start writing. And if nothing and just write whatever comes to your mind without editing it, without trying to make it look pretty or good or anything. You may not even be able to read your writing afterward. That's okay. So we're going to just place our hand on our heart. We're going to ask our soul to lead along with Reiki and just show us what our biggest lessons were in 2024. And if nothing comes to you, it's okay to just make your pen swirl and make squiggles until something comes through. And you may do this with a degree of awareness. You may be not at all aware as you write, but just allow yourself to write for the next 2 to 3 minutes without any thought, just writing the first thing that comes down, even if it's gobbledygook and doesn't make any sense. So go ahead and begin, and I'll set a timer for us. What were my biggest lessons in 2024? And there's just about 10 seconds left, so just go ahead and wrap up. And now we're going to go to our second question around 2024. And that question is, what moments brought me the most joy and fulfillment? Or what brought me the most joy and fulfillment? So just go ahead and wrap up that question if you could. If you need a bit more time, you can always come back to it later. And we're going to move on to our last question around 2024. And that is, what am I ready to release as I move forward, as I move into 2025? What am I ready to release? Just give you a few minutes to write that down. What am I ready to release as I move forward? And we're just going to go ahead and take 2 or 3 minutes with that question, just automatically answering it, asking our soul to lead. Just take your time wrapping up this question. And I invite you, once it's wrapped up, to just go ahead and place your hands back on your heart and just use a mantra that William suggests we use every day. Please guide me and heal me so that I may be of greater service to myself and to others. And I'd like to let you know that you can follow up with this reflection either with a gasho meditation, just bringing your hands into gasho with the palms together, the fingers pointing up, the thumbs at the heart. And the gasho meditation is what Yusui Sensei, the founder of Reiki, calls the first pillar of Reiki. And it's just spending time focusing your attention on the space between your palms. So you could read through your notes, and we're just going to spend a moment or two in gasho right now, just allowing some of the revelations, information to integrate, and even just allowing the thoughts to process a little bit more, guided by Reiki. And this is one way that you can continue the integration and the work in this direction. And so we'll just spend about 2 minutes here today. When our souls came to earth, they went through a process called the Great Forgetting, where we forgot how limitless we are. We forgot our potential, that we're capable of anything. We often forgot our life purposes and why we chose the specific challenges that we did. And I believe humanity is ready, and you are the way showers, to go through a process that came through in a session today called the Great Remembering, where our souls remember what they came here for. They remember that they're limitless, full of potential. And in fact, one friend has a theory, and it rings very true, that some of the new souls are going to come in remembering not having gone through the process of the great forgetting. So today we begin this process of the great remembering, allowing our soul to lead, understanding what we're here for, ready to live from our authentic self. You can go ahead and come back. And if anything showed up for you that you didn't already make a note of that you'd like to take a moment to jot down, you can go ahead and do that now. And this helps us have a look at 2024 and what our lessons were, what brought us joy, and what we're ready to release. Another way that you can continue or further this work is something called a walking meditation, which I do most every morning as I walk the dogs. I activate Reiki in my palms. I do a short self session, and then I invite the symbols to be with me for the entire day. And I walk with intention, sometimes making Reiki trails, sometimes not. But I walk with intention, just allowing Reiki to guide me as I step into nature. We're very fortunate that we have enough land we can walk the dogs off leash on our property, and they really enjoy it. And so I'm really able to just enjoy the woods and just listen for guidance, the information that comes in. I often start with that same message, please guide me and heal me so that I may be of greater service to myself and others. And then as I walk, I call that my walking Reiki meditation. When we look back on 2024, we often have a tendency to focus on the negative. And what you probably noticed with this exercise is that Reiki and being intentional can actually help us break that cycle and realize that even something that perhaps seemed negative or felt negative has a lot of positive to it. I know certainly those were some of my messages, which was, you know, to let go of the wounding. But even some of the things that I felt were negative as I wrote them, I realized, oh, they weren't that negative at all. They were really positive. One of the things we're aware of is that Reiki can help us release any emotional or energetic residue from the last past year. For instance, let's I'm going to invite you to join me right now, just placing your hands on your heart and just inviting Reiki to come into your aura, your body, your chakras, anywhere that your mind, your emotions, even into your soul. The soul can have parts of itself that are injured or damaged. And we just invite this Reiki energy, whatever symbols you want, to just dissolve anything heavy or stagnant, anything that has run its course and that you're done with, and just leaving us with a clean slate, ready for new possibilities. And once again, we're just going to spend a few minutes here. That's all we really need. Just forming the intention to just release all emotional or energetic residue from the past year that isn't part of our path forward. We're going to come back to this as well in our meditation. But if you need to spend a little bit more time just releasing anything that no longer serves you, that isn't part of your path forward, just know that you can return to this anytime. And we're going to step forward now using the same method and principles to set our intentions with Reiki, asking our soul for the next part. And so I'd like you to just take a moment, still with your hands on your heart, giving yourself Reiki, just asking your soul to step forward, your ego and personality to step aside, and just ask yourself, what do I want? And I'd like you to ask that with the caveat or the understanding that if there were no limits on anything, on financial, time, age, health, anything, if there were no limits, what do I truly want? Go ahead and pick up your pen once more, and we're going to ask our soul, what do I want? And you're just going to begin writing once again. And we're going to write at least 7. You're going to ask yourself, what do I want? At least 7 times. We're going to spend a little bit longer on this one, maybe as much as 4 minutes. What do I want? Once again, you're just letting your pen flow. Continue asking yourself, what do I want? And what does my soul want? And now I'm just going to invite you to wrap up this question. And we're going to do something a bit fun with this, or not, but we're going to go back to each answer, and you're just going to write an S or an E beside it. And you're going to ask, is this what my soul wants? Or is this what my ego and personality wants? And so just go back and review and just write S beside everything your soul wants and E beside everything that your ego wants. And even though we ask the soul to lead, sometimes the ego will override the soul, and we're just acknowledging that. Sometimes you may need to write both soul and ego, and there's nothing wrong with that. Hmm. You may have noticed some patterns there. I noticed that some things that I thought my soul was asking for, in fact, were my ego. And some things I thought were my ego were my soul. For instance, who knew that my soul wants good coffee? That was the one that probably was a surprise. But I guess that's something that my body and soul both enjoy, is just that moment with a good cup of coffee every morning. So that was pretty interesting. We're going to go to the next question. And that is, we're just going to spend a few moments asking, what are my next steps? And so go ahead and write down, what are my next steps? And we're going to do something. We're going to go into something called mouse view. We're going to do just a little meditation, just looking at what your soul wants and just getting really comfortable with that. And then place your hands back on your heart, close your eyes. And sometimes we can get really overwhelmed with what are the next steps and what are when we can see we need to get there, but we're here, and how do I get there? And I was working with Colleen Benelli a few weeks ago, and she gave me a wonderful tool. This is a wonderful tool for people who think in possibilities like I do. I'm always aware of all of the possibilities. The field of possibilities is always open to me. So I can see just a million things that I would love to do at any given point in time. Some people also call that ADD or ADHD, but it's more than that. It's a just a love of life and an optimism. And so if you're a person that can get overwhelmed like I can with how many possibilities and how do I get from point A to point B, what we're going to do is shrink down to mouse view. So this is something that we're taught in shamanism, that when we have a problem, sometimes we rise up and we imagine that we're an eagle And we have eagle view, meaning we can see all around the problem. We can see from the bigger picture, the wider angle. And in a way, when we asked what our soul wants, that's where we were. We were in eagle vision, asking what our soul wanted. Now I'm going to invite you to just imagine that you're a mouse. You shrunk down to the size of a mouse, and you can only see what's right in front of you. That's called mouse view. So just take one of the things that your soul wants, maybe choose one of them, and ask ask yourself to just go down into mouse view, just imagining that one thing you chose, going into mouse view with that one item, and just ask yourself, what are my next steps to doing this? Then you can go ahead and just pay attention, and whenever it feels right for you, you can go ahead and pick up your pen once more. And you're probably not going to have 14 steps from mouse view. You'll have maybe 1 to 3 things. What are my next steps in order to accomplish this? I know when I go into mouse view, I usually just get one thing. And if I go in and ask for something else, it just says, no, just stick with that one thing and do that. Then come back and we'll give you the next step. And it's usually something very simple, very achievable. And so just go ahead and write down whatever you received. And there's a few more things that we can do, a few practical things with Reiki. We can actually write down our intentions as affirmations. We can write them down and add them to our Reiki grid, or if you have a Reiki bowl or box, you can add these steps, these intentions to those. And then you just use Reiki and the Reiki symbols to go ahead and energize the intentions, what your soul wants. And you won't fail. You can't fail. It's your soul led purpose. And so from here, everyone, hopefully I haven't gone too fast for anyone. I probably have, but hopefully not way too fast. We're going to move into a guided meditation which aligns us with the flow of creation so that we can use Reiki, use the flow, use our soul purpose, our soul, having our soul leading, and just allow that to align us with our personal and global goals for 2025. Oh, I just see a note in the chat that it's period 9 in Feng Shui just now. That's very cool. Okay. Guys, we're going to now move into phase 2 of our share today, which is just using Reiki once more to reflect on the past year and just align with our intentions to set powerful intentions for the year ahead. And this will help connect us with the flow of creation. And it should also help us move into 2025 with confidence, clarity, purpose. So I'm just going to invite you to make yourselves really comfortable. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Activate Reiki. Place your hands comfortably on your body wherever you feel guided, and breathe. And just allowing yourself to settle in this moment. Setting an intention to step into the great remembering, where you remember your soul's purpose, what your soul came here for. Even if it's not perfectly clear to you tonight, the process has begun, and it will become more and more clear in time. It will keep working away in your quiet time, in your downtime, even when you're busy doing other things. And you'll start to have more and more awareness around it. So I'd just like you to breathe in and just imagine focusing your energy on the bottoms of your feet. And then just imagine your attention, your focus, moving down into the earth like the roots of a tree, going all the way down to the groundwater underneath you, all the way through the soil into the groundwater, and then to the bottom of that, into all the way to the bedrock, and just feeling yourself very stable and grounded. From this place of stability, this is where we can anchor or manifest these higher energies into our daily lives. So just go ahead and place your consciousness there. And just remembering that we're all mostly made of water. And by connecting with the groundwater in any place, sometimes you have to go quite deep to get to it, depending on where you are, you actually connect with that land, with the energy, the water, the life-giving water of that land. And connecting with that can cause the water within us, and we're more than 70% water, can cause our water molecules to align. It can make you feel very stable, at home. Anytime you travel, it's a great idea to do this. And so as these roots anchor you, connecting you to the nurturing energy of the earth, on every exhale, I'm going to invite you to release anything from the last year that no longer serves you, any stress, fear, doubt, anything on your list at all. And just allow the water and the earth to absorb and transform this energy into something really positive. And we're just going to stay there for several moments, breathing at least 12 breaths together for this release. imagine the beautiful light of Reiki descending from the heavens, flowing into your body, cleansing and renewing you, just washing away any heaviness, leaving you clear and open and filling any space that's left behind with the beautiful light of Reiki. Now bring your awareness to your heart. Just notice a spark of light glowing in your heart space. This is the divine spark of creation within you. This is the spark of creation that became self-aware when you decided to incarnate here on the planet. And with each breath, I invite you to notice and see this light growing brighter until it fills your entire body with warmth and light and possibility. Now imagine this light within you is extending outward now, connecting you with the flow of creation, a vast river of energy that moves through all life, all that is. Feel yourself moving into alignment with this flow where your desires and the universe's abundance converge and come together as one. And we'll breathe here, just allowing you to connect with that flow, that flow of creation. I invite you to consider one of your soul-led intentions for the year ahead. It could be a personal goal or a feeling you would like to embody or a way that you want to contribute to the world. Just see this intention as a seed in your hand and just notice that seed is glowing with Reiki energy. And as you hold this seed, just imagine it being planted or visualize it being planted in the fertile soil of the universe. See it being nurtured by the elements: earth for stability, water for flow, air for clarity, and fire for passion. And just moving into a place of trust, that seed is going to grow in perfect timing, supported by a combination of your commitment and Reiki's guidance. If you have any other seeds that you wish to plant, you can go ahead and do that now as well. I'd like you to expand your focus outward, just imagining the collective energy of humanity aligning with harmony, peace, and love. And just form a visual in your mind of what that would look like, just everybody getting along. Let's send Reiki together to these global intentions and any others that you may have. And just picturing them as waves of Reiki light spreading around the earth. And just understand and know that as you nurture your own intentions, you're also contributing to the greatest good. So let's just allow our collective attention to focus now on aligning the collective energy of humanity with harmony, peace, and love. Just imagining those waves of Reiki spreading out from our hearts all over the planet today, especially in areas that are experiencing war and strife and trouble. In closing today, I just invite you to take a deep breath. Bring your awareness to your eyes and back to your surroundings. I like to wiggle your fingers and toes, and whenever you're ready, just open your eyes. Take a moment to say thank you to you for taking this time for reflection and creation. And we also thank Reiki and our souls for working together to guide us tonight. I invite you to bring this beautiful energy and these intentions forward with you as you step into this beautiful 9 universal year. I hope you know how loved and supported you are by our wonderful Reiki community, and how much I appreciate you, how much the universe appreciates you. Thank you for being the light that you are in the world today. Namaste.